left, right.
Yo, what's up, guys? This is episode 100 of SipTalk. We made it quite a ways. Enjoy this episode. I will see you guys on the other end. Please like, subscribe, comment, and looking forward to the next one. See ya. This is SipTalk. Grab a drink and enjoy.
Of course, it's good.
Cheers.
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 Welcome, everyone. This is episode 100 of SipTalk. I actually, to kick this off before we went live, I was getting stuff ready. I watched the first episode of TikTok of SipTalk. I think it probably went better than this one will, but
Really?
I don't know. We have so much room for improvement and so much time to take care
I would
of
say that like before I joined in, I listened to episodes in like the teens, and I think that for all of our faults, which are multifarious, I think that we're way better than we were 80 episodes ago.
Well, seeing how you misnamed your own podcast after saying you watched the first one, I'm not going to say it made a huge impression.
Well, thank you, Doodle Mom, for the congratulations. We are happy to be at episode 100. My thinking is, with quantity will come quality, and if we make marginal improvements, sometimes
So that actually leads to our topic tonight, which is bad ideas that initially sound good.
Yeah.
Hey, let's start a podcast.
I think persistence is really a big one here. Actually,
now we're on dating advice.
the thing that got me about the first podcast was we did a screen record rather than a video record. For whatever reason, we just had the camera open and screen recorded the camera, but there kept being drop down notifications. So these calendar alerts and push email notifications that kept coming through. At one point, there was like 12 minutes where it just said event notification across the top fifth of the screen, and you couldn't see anybody. Oh my God, it was bad. Either way, here we are. We're going to pour some drinks. Very, very important. I'm a little pissed off to start. I was actually in a really decent mood going into this. And then suddenly I just hit something. I saw something in my periphery on my way to do some recycling and instantly became pissed the fuck off. I'm going to get back to being happy. And I will share with you what I was so pissed off about in just a minute. Stay tuned for that. Let's make some drinks. David, up top, David Boswell, the political scientist out of Sacramento, California. What are you drinking, my friend?
I'm drinking something that's appropriate for, well, we'll see. Awake and Naked. It is a Belgian strong ale, 8.5% Citra and Tetrahangen or not.
I don't know what
those aren't real words.
Yeah. I don't know what word you just said, but it's called Awake and Naked. It's a beer or it's
Tetrahanger.
Golden Strong Ale. All right. It's got coffee in it, so it's caffeine and beer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long night. It's a lot earlier here than it is for you guys, so I've got some time to kill.
All right, fair enough. Two things. Awake and Naked, and timing. What I do want to do is I want to ask some of the viewers if it would be better if we had a later podcast. Because in New York at 8 o'clock at night, like my thinking is, we need to be at 10 or 11 o'clock New York time, Eastern time, which could potentially be more convenient for you. I don't know, but I don't know what people's viewing habits are of when they're going to sit down and watch a live show.
Well, it's changed a lot since episode 1 because we're coming out of the pandemic. People can go outside again at 8 o'clock at night and go grab a drink. So maybe they don't want to be watching us.
True. But also, James, I think notably what you said that, the original podcasts, probably the episodes weren't as tight and the topics weren't as interesting as they are now. But there was an in-person aspect to being able to hang out, have some drinks. In the future, maybe we can bring, do some more live sessions in person, be able to visit, and also like at my office or something like that. You guys can bring some guests. We're going to get into bringing in guests later on in the season after episode 100. Obviously, this is it. We've had some notable guests in the past.
So we're gonna have 100 episode long seasons. So we're in season 2, everybody.
No,
We
we're
made
actually
it.
we're
Oh,
already
no.
we're already in season 2. The season calendar is the calendar year for us, in case you were wondering. I want to get back to the Awake and Naked in just a minute, and then I'll get to the pissed off part. But if you're watching us live in the vertical format, below me and geographically also below me is James, the Boswell Boswell out of Charleston, South Carolina, professional referee, bartender, accountant, and philosopher, which I think that, I really think that's a good combination. It really, it really kind of levels you out there. You get some, accountant that's kind of like very strict by the numbers, but the philosopher that's like, it gives you great perspective that I don't think accountants normally would have. And then you're referee, so you're really by the rules, but then you're
James
also
has never had a job as a philosopher. He never
well,
said he was a good one.
well, fair enough.
Not many people have jobs as philosophers.
But then you got the bartender thing where you're getting people fucked up. So like you enforce the rules, but then you like encourage people to break the rules. I think really it's a good combination.
Different rules.
Yeah.
Different rules.
Fair enough. So what are you drinking down there in sunny old South Carolina?
For episode 100, I'm sticking with the usual. I got a Busch Ice, and I got myself a bottle of Evan Williams 1783 with a just ice, no bitters tonight.
All right, nice. I'm gonna cut up some lime over here, make a little tequila, lime, and Pepsi Zero sugar, because why not? So
what had you all pissed off like 3 minutes before the podcast?
Well, so look, and this probably might sound a little obnoxious, and it probably, I know it is, but I had a soda when I came home, had the water bottle out here. I set it down somewhere, walked by, forgot about it. In my periphery, I see the water bottle. I said, the soda bottle. So you know what? I ought to put that in the recycling before I have a couple of drinks and forget, and it sits here. And recycling is a good thing to do. So I walk up. I'm in the basement, by the way. I walk up, grab it. I look around. Everything is soaking wet. Now, I just put this carpeting down here. There was a small leak in the ceiling. I couldn't figure out more or less what it was. I figured I had it taken care of. And what we did today was we had the house water blasted. What do you call it? High pressure washed. And I guess they must have sprayed at very high pressure into the concrete stairs in the front, and it just came pouring through to these 2 leather restoration hardware aviator chairs and the ottoman below. Now,
Are they wrecked?
Not yet. Right now, they're just very fucking wet. And I don't even know what happened to the soda bottle. I don't know where it went. But I just started ripping the fucking carpet off the floor, grab some, and I'm not like, I don't mind if some certain things get fucked up. Like, that's okay with me. But I really like those chairs. And it took me, I saw the chair in the store. I was younger. I saw this is not only a very stylish chair, but it's surprisingly very comfortable. I think the style's a bit played out. I think it was popular maybe a decade ago or so, but it's cool to me, just like a Porsche 993. Like, it's not current, but it's cool to me. It speaks to part of me where I was very impressionable, and it hit me. I thought this was cool. I thought I had to have it. Took me a long time to finally buy these chairs. Now they're fucked. So it set me off a little bit, made me a little bit pissed, but we're going to get back there with the help of alcohol. So, we have Rosh watching. The live stream. Thank you, Brian Rainey in Champs We Trust. Congrats on the 100th episode. Thank you for that. We're not, I think I was thinking, a lot of this episode we could talk about some past episodes and really game up the fact that it is the 100th episode. But we're not the kind of guys that need to devote an entire episode to patting ourselves in the back.
It'll be a 3-part series.
We're gonna need more than one episode for that.
It's like the goddamn Hobbit. It was the shortest book, and somehow they turned it into 3 dragging movies.
Well,
So,
you got to monetize.
no, I'm honestly impressed as a Jew, but as a consumer of movies and enjoying the 180-page book, fuck.
I've never read The Hobbit or watched the movie, or I don't. Something called The Hobbit doesn't really pique my interest. You know,
The 22 South Park episode also titled The Hobbit is a much better use of your time, and you can call it right there.
Yeah,
Just be done.
25 minutes and it's quality from start to finish.
22. I think it's their best episode ever.
I rewatched the highlights of that episode like a week ago.
Watched
You
it
know-
last night.
I'm not a big fan of South Park at all, but you know what? I really enjoy watching the episodes. If that makes any sense. You know,
No, it doesn't.
it's a
It
very
doesn't.
engaging, very hilarious, very obnoxious cartoon TV show, and I don't like any of that. You know, something that's too funny all the time, not cool. And it's just obnoxious, not cool. It's a TV show which I do not like. But anytime it's on, I will watch the fuck out of it. I'll just be glued to the TV and I will laugh the entire ride because
It's like saying I really hate McDonald's. I hate fast food, except whenever I drive past one, I have to stop there because I mean, you know, it's there.
self-loathing, man. It's just that's part of who we are as people. But look, let's did you answer my question in the group text, David? Or do we have topics that are off limits? Or can we ask about last week?
Which aspect? Yeah.
And, you know,
The date that you were about to go on.
Yeah.
Oh,
your
yeah,
impending date.
Yeah. Going really pretty spectacularly there.
So you got laid. All right.
No, did not. That's okay though.
That's okay.
I've been single for a couple of years now, and with the pandemic, not hooking up with anyone, so that's not really like at the forefront. So it's been nice just to meet someone new and actually have someone who is kind of funny and makes jokes and doesn't take everything like super seriously, like a lot of millennials.
Did you bring the
these
sandwich
days.
card?
It was in my wallet, but we didn't go for sandwiches. We just
So-
went for beers and cocktails.
So now that you're engaged,
Yes.
I have some questions for you about the date. Because dating during coronavirus, you know, so you said you got vaccinated. Well, we know you got vaccinated. Was she vaccinated?
Yes, she had her second dose before we hung out a couple weeks before. I don't recall what her reason for getting it before like open availability was, but she works for marketing for a water treatment company. So
Okay.
it's-
Well, we don't need all the details on the grub, but
Essential
either
working.
way, all right. So, and you asked all the usual questions, like she had a recent STD test and she was up to date on all of her other routine vaccinations, of course, I imagine.
what?
What? I thought the routine question is, what is your name and what is your quest?
Well, I don't know. People, fucking Snow White, man.
What?
I don't know. I'll get
What?
to Snow White in a minute. But
Didn't drug her, no, or need to resurrect her at any point during the first date, if that's what you're referring to.
no.
The
It
princess
just
stories.
it just rolled through my mind, and I know princess stories are your favorite, David. But did you guys wear masks, or were you what was the
No.
mask situation? No masks right off the bat. No masks.
Paper bags?
1, 2, or 3.
No, but I'm curious. You rolled. I'm
I'm
just curious. I'm trying to play it through my head. You rolled up. You had no mask on, so you're easily
So-
identifiable. Or you had masks on. You kind of waved, hoping that that was the right person, and then you demasked.
we live on opposite sides of our street, which is a major strip that has a whole bunch of bars, restaurants, like not nightclubs, but like places you can go at night.
I
met
like
there.
the setup here. I like the setup. Like, were you wearing a mask when you first met her? And you're like, first off, we live on opposite sides of the street. Now, this particular street,
It actually is
it
an old
runs east to
railroad track.
west.
It actually is an old rail. She's on the road. She's on the opposite side of the tracks. So
the
think of that
wrong
what you
side
will.
of the tracks.
I don't know if it's the wrong. Well, yeah, it's the wrong side.
All right. So were you wearing you were wearing a mask?
had a mask. We went to a local brewery. You have to walk inside, so you mask up because you have to walk inside.
I want to know.
Order.
This was a first date.
But no,
right?
as soon as we sat outside, no masks.
But this was a first date.
Yep.
So
First time meeting in person.
the initial encounter, were you masked at that initial encounter?
No.
All right. That's what I was getting at. That's all I wanted to know.
Partly because we had talked about like vaccination status beforehand. It's like I've got one. You've already gotten both. Fuck it.
All right, fair enough. That was but it overall went well. She was funny. She works at a water treatment plant. She pees in the water. It's probably tougher for a girl, but I know the guys at the Corona place do it.
I don't think that was what I said, but we'll go with that.
I'm sure that's how they brew their beer.
Brew it, yeah.
No, they just pee it out and it comes out at 5.4.
They must drink a lot. I'm just taking some notes. So look, back to your beer. You ever woken up? I mean, I have a particular story I'm about to share just because it was a rough. And I probably shouldn't share it, but whatever.
Oh, buckle up. Go ahead. No.
Yeah, you're gonna power through it.
Have you ever woken up somewhere naked where you shouldn't have been?
Yeah. You always wake up and say, "This is not my room. Should not be naked here."
Fuck. You know that now I don't want to tell the
Dimitri
story.
Martin. You wake up naked.
Pops.
You gotta take into account your surroundings, like because it could either be something really good or really bad. Wake up naked. What the hell happened? She's pretty cute. What the hell's he doing here?
Well, what I was thinking, I got to take into account that my mom listens to the podcast sometimes, so that could put me in some, I got to censor myself a little bit some of these times.
That's not what this podcast is about.
That is not what this podcast is about.
You just need to say allegedly, and you'll probably be good.
All right.
Or I don't recall.
Allegedly.
All right. Before we get to the naked and afraid, naked and caffeinated, the naked and drunk, we were talking last episode that I was saying that I'd heard a lot of employers were advertising for jobs and they couldn't find people to hire. I gave an example. I didn't look into it, but the guy was offering to pay $300 a day for basic labor, not super skilled labor, but not like what's the new generation called? I don't know, but if you were born from like 95 until now, like they probably didn't want you because you don't have any skills and you don't think that you should work because you deserve not to. But I didn't verify that story, but I did once I got off the train. I jumped in my pickup truck, and first thing on the news was about the labor market and about how people are having difficulty hiring. And then I opened my computer, and there was a notification with some news. One of the headlines was New York Times: "Why can't companies find workers?" So like,
listen to our podcast.
Yeah, they must have really. Wall Street Journal was probably listening to us yesterday. Somebody, obviously contributor, and they probably went to the higher ups and said, "Justin's really got a good point." Because that's how
us, man.
That's how it works. That's why our podcast is going to blow up. Even though it doesn't blow up, I'm happy with it. You guys are fun. This is fun. Question for you: what's your favorite part about being on the podcast? Is it that I force you to drink on a regular basis? What I want to know is what's the high point of being on the podcast and the low point about being on the podcast? Because I have a low point.
My favorite moment was you talking about the space pen, and James and I both saying, "No, that's a stupid story. That's fake. That's a stupid myth."
Well, I heard the story.
I know, but you asked the question, "What's your high point?" That's probably one of the high points.
Yeah, because you thought you had this great story and a great point to make.
And we just
and then we so you've just got this airplane that's flying along, and we just open up the anti-aircraft battery on it.
It's a great lesson on perspective. The story that they're referencing is I was explaining how it's a story that I read, and clearly it was somebody else telling the story, and it was bullshit. But what I heard was the pilot pen was invented because the U.S. when they started going into outer space, they had ballpoint pens, and if you've ever tried to write upside down with a ballpoint pen, it doesn't work. Why? Because gravity's not pushing down on the ink. Now, when you're in space, you don't have gravity pushing down because there's no gravity in space.
There's still gravity.
Well, it doesn't work the same way. All right, thank you, David.
Works.
Try writing long enough upside down. Anybody who's tried to write in bed doesn't work very well. Either way, the United States spent millions of dollars on this campaign to develop a pencil a pen that could write in outer space. And the moral of the story was, what did the Russians do? They used a pencil. They just said, oh, well, the pen doesn't work. Just use a fucking pencil. However, apparently that story never happened.
It's completely false.
All right. Well, I'm gonna Rosh. Can you look on Snopes? What would you search for Snopes?
Again, the reason is because pencils use graphite, which is a great conductor, and you don't want great conductor filings flying around. Basically, an asteroid flying around the Earth at 30,000 kilometers per second.
Yeah, when you've got a whole bunch of key electronics that your life depends upon, you really don't want them short-circuiting.
Nothing there's frivolous. Like, oh, it might get the popcorn maker, guys.
Rush,
be careful.
Rush, can you?
The margarita machine's down, guys. Party's over.
All right, Rosh, check Snopes for the history of the pilot pen or something along this.
Fisher Space Pen. Jesus, you don't even have the name right.
Yeah, because
Space
pilot's
pen.
a Japanese word.
All right, I know.
Yeah, it was a Fisher Space Pen, and that I only know that because James and I are like ridiculous pen nerds. But
all right, well,
what I say.
I need you to lift me into some better spirits here, guys. So the high point of for you guys was the episode where we were talking about the space pen, and you just got to crush my story.
Yeah, it's probably the surface to air missile to your dreams.
I'm already sore about the leather chairs here, and by sore I mean like a cowboy sore, not like they're uncomfortable chairs and now I'm sore.
Rosh, what we want you to check is do research on NASA developing a pen for space and the myth that the Russians used a pencil. That'll give them enough to go on.
All right, cool.
All right. Anyways, for me, I enjoy it just because, like, two of the people that I've known the longest and I'm the closest with, I get to catch up with and bullshit twice a week, and the ever impending dread of 7 o'clock on a Tuesday or Thursday when we don't have any topic, and we're just like every single week.
Yeah, it's about 2:30. It was about 2:30 my time. I texted James like, "Yeah, shit, I don't fucking know. Things that sound like good ideas but are bad. I don't know. I'm taking a nap. Talk to you later." That was 2:30 my time. I was like, "All right, well, we got another 3 hours here."
Well,
I still think it's a good topic because we can
thank
get
you,
some people
let
that-
love.
We can get some comments on this one. I got a whole bunch of good ideas. I got one comment from Smart Tom. I told him, I was like, "Here's the topic that I'm thinking about for tonight," and I said, and I framed it as bad ideas that initially sound good. And Tom, without missing a beat, said, "Women's right to vote."
It's not funny, man. You got to preface when you're making a joke. All right, you're gonna get us in trouble here. You're gonna get us fucking Snow Whited like the prince from Snow White. That's not cool. So, fuck! I just totally lost my train of thought. So Rosh sent us the link. I'm gonna open this link here.
It doesn't answer the question. It talks about the pen. It doesn't.
Yeah, it talks about the technology that went into it.
Okay.
Which doesn't answer the question.
All right.
Yeah, well, actually, no. The second paragraph it says it's just a myth.
There we go. I didn't open it.
All right. Well, I
knew. Thanks, Rush. Sorry.
It's tough for us to click on the links while we're live here trying to stay engaged. I can always see when James gazes off to the upper left of the screen.
Well, also because the lighting changes.
Welcome back, James. Yeah, and we can see with the glare in your face. So, all right. Fuck, I still lost my train of thought here. So, let's get into this bad idea thing. First off, but before we get there, you gave me your high points of the podcast. What I want to know, what's the worst part about the podcast? for you because right off the bat, I can tell you it's just like 40 minutes in having to piss, like an agonizing need to take a piss. And James and I have taken breaks in the past, but I usually try to get through the full hour.
You know what? The election night podcast was a lot of fun because we were going for 5 hours straight.
I remember the election night. I just remember texting James all these different like offshore properties, like, "Hey, this is like 300,000, and it's 400 feet up a cliff, overlooking the Atlantic. Let's move there."
Caribbean.
Oh, it was beautiful. Those houses. The problem is getting financing for them.
Yeah, no, I'm
Oh,
pretty
hold
sure
on.
that we
Whoa,
talked
wait,
about
wait.
that
Here.
on the podcast.
So just for the record, I have no idea what you're talking about. All right. So you
don't
hang on,
remember election night.
Just hear me out because I asked you when you initially met the girl, were you both wearing masks? And you go, well, you know, she lives on one side of the street and I live on the other side of the street.
This story
Because you gave that short answer. Yes, we were wearing masks. So we saw each other initially, or no, we weren't.
Because you were
masks.
diving
And
into
then
it.
And then you gave the whole setup.
You precluded the question was is anything off limits, David? Oh, what the fuck do you want? No, now we're talking about the election that was a longer time ago. I have much less fond feelings for that evening.
So the election night.
Anyways, we're watching the election night, and it has really, really strong undertones of fucking 2016 all over again. Because you look in the returns, like, oh, he's gonna kill him, and like, oh shit, we're not gonna know
way
tonight.
closer than it should be.
Yeah, definitely.
Under any circumstance, we're like, I can't do another 4 years of this. I moved here trying to do the whole grad school thing and politics and keep. I can't commit to living in the United States another 4 years if it's going to be the last 4 years. I don't want to do that. I'll fuck off for a few years and take that little, like, I don't know, penalty stroke in golf. Like, oh, take a step back. You're 35 and you're starting where you would have if you were 30.
No, yeah, it's just like a bad roll.
I'll deal with that to not have to be here for like Trump's second term.
No, but even true, like somebody like you who really enjoys politics, that was the last 4 years were not. The last 5 years were not enjoyable, given there was so much going on in politics, so much hot and cold and just kind of flaming bullshit going on all the time. But it was not a fun period in time to be interested or covering or watching politics.
And that's one criticism that I love from the Republicans right now, because like Biden's really popular, and like one of the criticisms they have is like, well, this administration's so boring. I'm like, yeah, that's the point.
It's fucking politics. Well, first off, politics, there's one politics channel, like True Politics channel, and that's C-SPAN. That is the most boring station. Now there are other news channels,
yeah,
but they're not
just covers politics straight up.
It's just you just get to watch politics as they happen, and that I would say greater percentage than 90. So I would say greater than 99% of the time, nothing is happening, and it's utterly completely boring, and it's just a bunch of people sitting in a room.
Have you watched C-SPAN?
It's usually just like coverage of the floor or something like that, and nothing's going on.
James and I both worked in the New York State legislature for a period of time. We are intimately familiar with how boring fucking legislation is.
That's my point, and that's usually what it's just kind of like live video of what's happening, and there's no opinion on it.
And yet you have multiple 24-hour news networks that do nothing but talk about politics and make it blood sport, because it's like battle porn for people who are like super into it. I can't watch anything on the news. I can barely read the political news these days because
now you have the different networks attacking the other networks. It's
well, when you've got to be on the air for 24 hours, there's not 24 hours worth of news. So you have to just fill the air with bullshit. And like, at least with C-SPAN, they don't try. They just say, yeah, we're just going to show a picture of the empty House floor or whatever. Like,
you know what, though? I would love to see a channel just come back and put on like 12 hours of, or even like 16 hours of TV a day, and then just go fucking black. Like,
well, you can turn off the TV.
No, yeah, but I'm saying that the network itself is just like, you know what, this is what we're going to put out there, and we're not going to put out some filler shit. Like, if you look at MTV right now, it's just fucking ridiculousness or some shit like that playing over and over and over again. Like, that's not, how do you,
when would you place I mean, not like James and I or you have watched MTV over the last 20 years, but when would you put the switch at MTV turning from like, hey, there was some music here to this is a dumpster fire?
Very
Mid to
early
late
2000s. I was going to say early 2000s.
2002, 3, like
Yeah.
Real World. After Real World, not Real World, sorry. The little like 4 in the afternoon.
Total Request Live.
Yes, TRL.
Mhm. Do they even have that anymore?
I have no
No,
idea.
God, no, they don't do music anymore.
But they
It's
just
MTV. It's MTV. They don't do music.
All right.
But anyways, let's return quickly to the story. So election night, I'm on the air with Justin live, and we're following the election night coverage, and we're talking loosely about the election, and then like making drinks. And by the time it's over, we're both hammered. But at some point during the night, and we talked about this on air about how like the prediction market started to flip when it looked like Trump might actually have a chance of winning or whatever. That's when me and the Derv were firing back and forth on texts, looking at properties to buy in the Caribbean.
Panama, Chile,
Trinidad.
couple in Costa Rica, Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah. Maybe not a bad idea just in general.
I'm pretty much there.
Yeah.
California, I'm here, and I'm gonna spend like 2 months outside of California this year because I live in a shitty apartment where there's no central air, and in the smoke season, it's 105 degrees outside and 100 degrees inside my apartment, but you can't go outside because it's so fucking smoky. So you're literally trapped in your
And
one
this
little
year's
room.
supposed to be really bad for you.
This year's smoke season brought to you by Marlboro.
It was. I was biking back Saturday, James, on the American River, and I had to bike past a fire. There was a fire engine at, but still, it was a ton of smoke I inhaled. I really should have just gone back the other 12 miles to go around it. Anywho, gotta be a clusterfuck this year. We got like half the amount of rain we're supposed to. I don't know if I want to live here if like 3 months out of the year I can't go outside. So I'm not tied here. We talked about moving a couple weeks ago. That might be in the future.
Yeah, we talked about moving
like
last week.
Like 2 years.
Yeah. That's not. I mean,
don't pretend like you remember last Thursday.
No, very little of it. Very little of it. Oh shit! All right, thanks for calling me out on that one. Thank you, Carol. Carol Ferrucci. Oh my God, election night was hilarious. Yeah,
Wasn't funny at the time.
It was very serious, and I was trying to hold back my politics. I was not happy with what was going on, and it was scary shit. It was definitely scary shit.
Comedy's lost everything. Now tragedy, that's funny.
It was almost a tragedy.
So good, bad ideas that sound good on the offset. So I got one for you. I'll let you guys think on.
I got a few.
All right, hold on. Let's let.
And also, Chad, if you've got any examples to throw out there, we want to hear them.
So I used to work at this gym in outside of Albany in New York, and one of my workout buddies took a road trip on motorcycles to South Carolina, him and his friend, and they both had sport bikes. Now, anybody who's ridden a sport motorcycle, so you know, a Harley rides kind of like this, right? Like you sit back, your feet are forward. Then there's like a neutral riding position where it's almost like sitting in a chair like this. But then a sport bike is more along the lines of this.
Supermaning it. Oh no, you're just taking it.
You all of your weight is on your front hands. You're leaned forward. Your feet are behind you, so you're as aerodynamic as possible. Sport bikes are designed to go fast, and a road trip is not enjoyable at 90 miles an hour plus. Like 90 miles an hour plus, 100 miles an hour plus, hitting like 120 and north of that. Like that's cool briefly. It's cool until like all of a sudden like something doesn't feel right, or you catch something out of the side of your eye and your heart rate goes to like 150 all of a sudden. But when you're taking a road trip, you want to be going quick because obviously you want to be covering ground, but there needs to be. It can't be high pressure, high stakes, in high intensity the entire time. So a sport bike is built for that. It's not relaxing. It's not comfortable. And they told me like they got like hours into the trip and they stopped and they were like, "Oh, we can't. This is fucking stupid." And then they kept going. They're like, "No, we're gonna do it." I think they got like halfway down. I don't remember what. I know they didn't make it the whole way, but they
make it to like Richmond.
I don't have any idea. This is like 15 years ago, but that was a good idea. Let's go down to a hot climate area on our motorcycles. We'll be able to dick around on the bikes, be out. People will be wearing bikinis and it'll be fun, but just not very well thought out.
Speaking of not very well thought out and bikes, there was an anti-mandatory wear a helmet while motorcycling law in New York back in like 2012 or 2013.
What do you mean?
And
like legislation?
it was like a protest. It was a protest saying, "Hey, it's New York State. Screw you. We don't want to have to wear helmets while we're on our motorcycles. We're fine." So they do this like 5-10 mile an hour civil protest down State Street in Albany, which you're familiar with. And one of the guys hits a pothole and tips the bike over and hits his head at 10 miles an hour and dies.
No, for really?
No, this happens all the time. Like any of these like anti-helmet protests or whatever, like someone will end up like crashing and killing themselves, and they would have lived if they wore a helmet.
The death part's not funny, but like, I mean, come on.
Kind of.
Well, it's the same thing with the gender reveal parties where the dad dies. Like, fuck, they already reproduced.
Yeah,
we
it's
didn't
too late.
cut them out quick enough.
All right, give me another one, James.
Well, I guess I'm just gonna piggyback off Dervs and say gender reveal parties. Sounds like a good idea. We're gonna get all these people together. We're gonna celebrate the fact that we're having a kid or whatever, and then they're just fucking stupid. And then like you might light half of Arizona on fire.
See, I like a dart game. You put like a little bit of pink or blue powder into a balloon. You throw a dart at the board. It pops. It's talcum powder. Cool. Not like I'm going to do a pyrotechnic display and burn 300 square acres.
But people want to do like that's why we're not there with this episode. We're not like going all balls to the wall here on 100 episodes. Like it's just I'm not that person. I don't think any one of us is. Where
here's one from my roommate: dating a girl with a tongue or nipple rings.
What's the bad idea that was dating her was the bad idea?
No, it sounds like a good idea, but it's actually a bad idea.
Which is what her from herself getting them or the guy dating her? I don't.
What if they're not rings on the nipples? What if they're bars?
Well, most people have bars, David. Most women have bars. It's not like an actual like ring where you're gonna like clip something to it.
James?
I don't know.
It's like rings, like earrings.
Yeah, you can have rings or you can just have like a bar. I don't really know.
They're most typically bars. Just throwing that out there. Women, you're welcome. Women, you're welcome to comment on that. But I'm telling you, it's usually just a bar. But what's the bad idea? I don't. He's saying it's a bad idea, etc. It was a good idea.
I think he's impugning character.
Well, I mean, if you want to throw like tramp stamp in there, like, or just tattoos in general. Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Ultimately, a bad idea. I think tattoo is commonly probably that's an issue for people.
I think my friend Ben has the award for best stupid tattoo in the last year.
Tom would like to have a Tom enters the ring after this.
Let me finish the worst idea for tattoo. It was in New Orleans during Mardi Gras last year when everything was blowing up COVID-wise. It was after getting some cocaine from the pedicab driver and then all going back to party and then doing a stick and poke tattoo in New Orleans with random people at the height of COVID. I think that takes the cake for stupidest tattoo in the last year.
Okay, so Tom has a tattoo. Derv, do you know this one? The tattoo that he has on his butt.
Tom has personally familiar.
Well, I can't imagine why you would. But he got a tattoo when he was in
You-
college of a
you are.
strawberry on his butt, specifically so they could tell people that it's scratch and sniff.
That's the best thing I've heard all day.
It doesn't hit it there with me.
What's not funny about that?
It's not it doesn't.
Just go to a bar and be like, yeah, this was scratch and sniff.
How often is he pulling his ass out?
I think he's only done it like once or twice. It doesn't matter. It's a solid concept.
James, that was cheesy. I don't know. Actually, they might be talking about something else, but I wouldn't be surprised. There's a lot that's cheesy here. Best bad ideas. So if you guys are watching live, let me know. What is it? Best bad ideas or it's bad
No.
ideas?
It's bad ideas that initially sound like good ideas.
Threesome with your girlfriend's best friend.
Bad ideas that initially sound like a good idea.
I'm just gonna wake up with twice the amount of disappointment.
How do you divide by 0 or multiply by infinity?
Stars and Stripes says that's the mindset of a college guy, and she's talking about the strawberry and the ass.
And I'm pretty sure he got it when he was in college.
It's still kind of funny. Like, we get it. It's juvenile. We get it. I'm 14 and this is funny, but it's funny.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, my thinking is,
I'm not endorsing it. I'm not going to do it myself and pay a royalty for having the pleasure. But
here's the kicker. I think somebody's going to look at that and say, you know what, that's a little funny. I get it. I'll bet you at one point that was very funny, and that's what's sad about it. Is that the funniness factor wore off really quick. You know, and
I don't know. Like,
I hope you don't have a hairy ass, really.
No, that's why I don't have any tattoos, because the tattoo is pretty much permanent unless you do like really painful removal, which reminds me of a friend who's so happy about his tattoos, this huge like 6-inch black letter across his entire back, and then he found out they spelled it wrong.
What did they spell wrong?
I would keep it because that is just funny.
All of it. James, that was Ben. Anyways,
was it the same tattoo that he got in New Orleans?
No, it wasn't.
Because that would make sense. It would fit.
No, luckily enough for him.
All right. Well, Zach Young from Charleston, South Carolina, just joined. Zach, if you're still live, if you're still watching us, were bad ideas that initially sounded like good ideas. I feel like Zach has probably got a couple of them.
I was saying about tattoos. I've never had an idea a year ago that today I thought was very good, and tattoos stick with you a lot longer. I just can't.
I agree, but I also I don't have the passion there in my life. You know, like the passion behind like one particular thing is not there. It's just
what I'm passionate about is my inherent ability to injure myself. I have more scars that are more interesting than tattoos that people paid money for, and I did this all for free. So I'm just gonna keep doing stupid shit and injuring myself, and that'll give my skin character. I don't need to pay someone to like mark it up and ink.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I mean, but tattoo, I think generally,
it's more intentional.
Yeah. All right, guys. What else you guys got for anything current events? Also, I'm curious because we're out of bad ideas. Maybe that was it.
What?
You know what, James?
No.
Your topic for the podcast was a bad idea that initially sounded like a good idea.
I'd say your idea of starting a podcast was a bad idea that sounded like a good idea.
Well, you're still here. Cheers. No, but look, actually, I got one for you, and it's not exactly a
100 shots sounded like a good idea.
Yeah, well, there was no way between the 3 or 4 of us we were gonna pull 100 shots. So I got this. So what happens to me sometimes is I end up down this rabbit hole of links. So I go to a web, I click on a link, I'm like, oh, that looks like an interesting news story. And then within that news story, there's these other teaser links, and then I just get lost. So there was the studyfinds.org article I clicked on, and what I got from these were the articles related to the article I was reading. Hair loss gene puts balding men at greater risk of severe COVID-19 infection. That was the top. That was the top one. I'm like, oh, I should read that. Next one: no immunity, COVID-19 virus reinfection common in healthy young adults. Study suggests COVID-19 alters human genes, explaining mystery behind coronavirus long haulers. Indoor social distancing rules don't adequately address COVID-19. 6 feet is no better than 60 feet. Back off. Thanks to COVID, 2 in 3 Americans can no longer tolerate crowds. Who the fuck, like if you were surveyed, would say, yeah, I definitely am cool with crowds. I don't think anybody was cool with crowds ever.
I remember when we were in South Carolina, you talked about how you always wanted to go to the most packed bar. So,
Yeah.
I don't think I said, well, you know what? You know what? I don't like packed bars, but I have
you
a
did
feeling
at the time.
I have a feeling that it's because most bars, this is mean, but probably the likeliness of running into somebody at a bar that we would be interested in having a conversation with for the vast majority of establishments were probably not very good. So
but how much conversation did you really want to have?
And also, how much conversation can you have at a packed bar?
Well, if there's somebody cool, you can bring them to a cool place that is not packed.
How do you even get to that step?
No, you just take them suddenly out of the club without letting them let their friends know behind the club, typically behind a dumpster.
Do you have a lot of experience with this? Hope
You
you're wearing a mask. Hope you're wearing a mask at this time.
I got another bad idea that sounds like a good idea at times. Clothing optional beaches.
Ooh.
Clothing, yeah, the whole nudist thing to me was never an alluring thing. Like I see myself sometimes in the mirror, I'm just like, oh fuck, man. That's not good. Better put some clothes on.
I feel I'm making myself uncomfortable right now. I like put something on.
Danushi, Justin, how are you still alive? I don't know what that conversation's about. Am I still alive?
Are you alive?
Am I alive? I guess so.
Yeah,
But yeah, the whole like nudist colony thing, man, very strange. And then it's typically there's not in shape people that like are at these establishments. Usually people that are not in shape. Like, what's the drive there when you're really that out of shape? Do you want to go and be naked around other naked people that are also out of shape?
Well, that's the same thing with like clothing optional beaches. As you think, yeah, we're going to see a whole bunch of like attractive naked people, but all the people that you would want to see naked are not at the nude beach.
Yeah, they're at the like teaser beach. Where like the thing about bathing suits, especially women's bathing suits, you're basically naked anyways. But the nude beaches don't just take the same people from the regular beaches and just take their clothes off. They take the people that aren't on any of the beaches, right? Like they take the people from Walmart and then they put them on the beach.
Park them.
Oh man, yeah. Look, I feel like there's thoughts that I have that are just not nice things. But I see a lot of these homeless people begging for money for food. And obviously I know they're not really homeless.
And you think they should be naked?
Well, no. They're usually really overweight, really out of shape. And I'm thinking like, I know you're not going to buy food with this. And obviously food is not an issue for you. And I feel bad thinking that, but
they're obviously not doing enough drugs to lose weight.
Well, I saw this woman who's usually like got her clothes all tattered up and she's wearing dirty clothes. She looks pretty rough and she's always standing out asking for money. Very big lady. Actually, yesterday I was walking to the train and there was a cop walking towards me and this woman was, I don't know, 20 feet ahead of me. And the cop literally, and she was walking the same direction as me against the cop. The cop literally stopped and just kind of did this. like just jaw dropped, like what's going, and he couldn't arrest the, there's nothing. Obviously the woman was like strung out in some drugs and really fucked up.
Well, also, like, if you're that cop, do you want to be the one that, hey, I'm gonna try to arrest you right now when she has 300 pounds on you?
Well, yeah, exactly.
In Chance We Trust says going to work from hanging out all night, still intoxicated instead of calling out.
Yeah.
That's definitely a bad idea. That seems like a good idea at the time.
Unless you work at a restaurant in the kitchen, especially.
In which case, it's just going to work.
They probably screen you for that on the interview.
But also,
not how do you pre-employment drug screening for back of house is, do you have drugs in your system?
Not how do you perform under pressure? How do you perform when you're fucked up? Is really
because if you don't have drugs when you're going into the drug test for the job, you're probably not going to fit in here. No, you need to blow this hard. The more the merrier.
Sorry, I didn't finish my thought because it got worse.
When do you?
So look, I've been dieting lately, and I noticed that people that are like dieting, not people that are just normally in shape, but people that are dieting get up in this kind of high horse about dieting, and they harass other people about what they should and shouldn't be eating. I see it happen all the time. I feel that way, and sometimes I catch myself saying things like, "Oh, that's really bad for you."
Have you tried the horse diet?
What's
very lean?
Fucking
horse.
So, but I get like these people get up in their high horse. So I'm walking down the street. I saw the same lady that yesterday the cop stopped and just jaw dropped. And she was eating an ice cream cone sitting on the stairs of the subway, which the stairs for the subway are disgusting. The woman was pretty messed up. And look, I have a lot of compassion for these people sometimes, but it's insane the number of homeless people. And you typically in an area you see a lot of the same homeless people. You see them doing drugs, you see them injecting heroin, you see them like it's a bad scene, especially near Madison Square Garden, Penn Station in Manhattan. But the woman was just sitting there eating an ice cream cone. And I thought, like, I was like, oh, good for her. She's chilling. And then I thought, it would be a great book series. I feel really bad for this. But if somebody just photographed a bunch of fat people eating ice cream cones and published a book with the pictures, I thought that would, and didn't address the fact that they were like overweight, but just,
who does your market research?
What? Nobody would buy that book. But then I realized the reason I was feeling this way is because I was mad at people who are eating ice cream because I'm so fucking hungry all the time. And that
yeah, so you were just jealous.
Yes, I was jealous and I was mad. I wanted to portray people who eat ice cream as overweight, out of shape people.
Or did you just want to look at a picture, like a book full of pictures of people eating ice cream?
It's a Ted Alexandra asparagus diet. Eat asparagus whenever you want. And the rest of the time, you just cry because you're so hungry. You're hungry. You're so hungry.
Ted Alexandra.
You just cry.
Is Ted Alexandra still around doing comedy? Because he is.
It's amazing how something a comedy routine that we watched when we were 15 and 16 years old has stuck around so long.
Yeah.
I was 11 or 12 when that happened. I think that's more impressive.
All right,
the
so
Gabriella that so few people have seen.
Gabriella,
hard to find.
Gabriella,
I am the puke fairy.
All right, let me share a comment with you. Gabriella de Ocampo. I can't read it. I'm sorry, Gabriella. What about those kids that do a blood brother oath? 100% bad idea. Yeah, that was always a weird.
I never understood that.
Yeah, it was.
I don't think that's more like movie thing than real life
but kids must see it in movies and do it.
Well, I remember when
kids are fucking stupid.
I remember in the early 90s when like HIV and AIDS was a much bigger issue than it is now. They talked about like blood brothers being like one of the things that caused HIV to spread because you're mixing blood.
I may have heard
and that was like a big thing in the early 90s because you would have been a little too young for this, but like I remember in elementary school them talking about it all the time.
One would hope.
But yeah, I don't really know how much of a thing that is anymore. A
Yeah.
good coffee book would be Bone Skinny People Eating Ice Cream and Lots of Carbs.
All
A
sounds
good coffee table book. A good coffee table book would be skinny people eating ice cream and lots of carbs. Yeah, but from my perspective of being hungry, I wanted to make eating ice cream look as bad as possible. And I don't know. I felt really mean with that thought going through my head, but I quickly identified it as that high horse syndrome, where where people do that when they're dieting. On that note, is it D Acampo? So Gabriella it says D apostrophe ACCAMPO. I feel bad mispronouncing names. I feel like that should be
Like Gabriela del Campo.
here. I'm gonna type it to you guys. You tell me.
I wouldn't worry about it. Like, is she saying anything more? Let's throw some more quotes out there so you can continue mispronouncing your name.
Yeah, my bad. Well, she's trying to get it out there. She's trying to get it out there, and now everybody in the comments on TikTok and Instagram is telling me to go eat ice cream. I don't want an ice cream.
Yes, you do.
Just have a drink. I'm much happier with the drinks. Save the calories. Save the turtles. I've been on a sea turtle.
Oh, I got another bad idea. That sounded like a good idea at a time. Building a bar in your tiny ass apartment.
Which apartment?
James, another throwback for stand-up. I like food. I like sex. No.
No. By the time you get anywhere interesting, she's gonna be asleep and you're gonna be in a diabetic coma.
Said those exact words last night. It's weird how these things travel like 20 years.
I'll give you a bad idea to start. So a good date idea is you cook for each other or something like that, but you have to you have to be very careful with the portion control, because what happens is the night ends up, you're not going to half-ass the cooking because you're going into it with the cooking, right? So the goal is you cook for the other person. But what ends up happening is you end up eating too much because the focus is on you want to appease the other person by eating the food that they're cooking, so you eat a lot of it, and then you are just kind of in this food coma afterwards, and it doesn't work for the sex part very well. So
I remember when we lived together in Charleston, we did the Sunday night cooking together with like 4 or 5 of us.
we weren't trying to fuck each other, just to
No,
clarify.
it was just like a friends getting together. We
Yeah,
cook a meal together.
It doesn't
and
sound
then,
like you guys had to try.
Yeah, and then we would all watch like a movie or something together. And every single time we did this, Justin would eat way too much, and it would be all of us sitting on couches watching the movie, and then Justin passed out, spread eagle on the floor, snoring.
So actually, this is during a period in time where I was getting in pretty good shape. Shortly before I moved to
Sounds
New York.
like it.
And but I was dieting fucking hardcore, and I only allowed like one cheat day a week. I remember one time we went fishing, and I bought a half gallon of ice cream. So we all got like some food for ourselves. I brought myself a half gallon of ice cream. We got out there. I realized I didn't have a spoon. So I ate it with a credit card. I sliced through the frozen ice cream. Just for the record, Danushi, I do eat ice cream at times. And this particular time, I was very, very hungry for ice cream. I think it was Moose Tracks. James really turned me on to the Moose Tracks. And I got this half gallon and I ate it with a credit card because you got to do what you got to do. I MacGyvered / Boy Scouted that shit. And
I got another bad idea. Hold on. Someone said Tiki Bar in Charleston, which obviously is going to be voodoo. But I mean, another bad idea that sounds like a good idea at a time is buying a Jeep in Colorado.
oh yeah, buy a car on the internet.
I have twice, and I haven't fucked up nearly as badly as you because I paid someone to drive the cars from Florida up to where I was instead of going out and getting stuck in Kansas.
On both sides of Kansas, by the way.
Twice.
I got stuck in Kansas twice. One upon entry, one upon exit. That was a bad. We'll have to tell that story sometime on the another episode. That was
We need to do a spin-off. We need to do a spin-off car series because we have enough stupid stories about cars.
We definitely have some good car stories. I'd like to hear yours. You guys know mine.
Like
so.
I remember that weekend really clearly because you were talking about I got to respond to this comment in a second, but I remember talking to my mom and saying, like, I really want to fly out with Justin and like drive back with the Jeep or whatever. Mom says, in no world is that happening.
Thank God she fucking did.
What do you mean? You would have had a lot of fun. It was a fun trip. It just took 2 or 3 or 4 more days than we thought it would.
Yeah, that's how I characterized the hostage situation too when I was stuck out there.
M says, "What's worse being on a date, being too full or having a whiskey dick?"
Never really had that whiskey dick as an issue.
I'm sure you haven't.
I drink a lot. No portion control. Who's going to eat all of it while you're drinking? So you'll have time for sex. I think David went to take a pee, which is definitely one of the most difficult parts of this podcast. I'm
pretty close there too, actually.
But I'm telling you, like there are times we get 40, 45 minutes, 50 minutes into it, and I'm tapping my foot under the desk like fuck. I got to pee.
Yeah, I just need to cut a hole in my chair.
After the last episode, I didn't even have to piss that bad at the end of the last episode, but I was thinking like, man, I wonder if there's some way I could rig up a piss system. I wonder if that's a thing. People who are on air.
Well,
I just
catheter.
think, my thinking is like being a bus driver has got to be the worst, at least with if you're a taxi driver, like you have time in between fares. When you're a bus driver, there's no stopping to pee in a cup, which I know cab drivers do all the fucking time because I watch them pull up to a red light, open the door, and dump out a cup full of piss, which is very scary when you're driving between the cars on a motorcycle. So that's, but that's like literally something I look for. When I'm pulling up alongside of a cab, they oftentimes open a door and pour something out, and it's piss. But as a bus driver, like not an option for you. So
yeah, you've always got somebody in the bus.
Like a bus driver to me sounds like a pretty chill job, but it's the piss aspect of it. And there's probably other jobs where you just can't piss as you need to. But the bus driver, you are stranded. It's not like you're going to pull the bus over to a Starbucks, run in and take a piss, run back out, jump back in the bus, start it up, and drive your passengers to the next destination. It's not an option. David, we're going to wrap. Anything you wanted to add after your piss?
That was good. It's pretty great.
Just was talking of bus drivers, and whenever I hear bus driver, all I can think about is the Ben Bailey routine.
I'm driving that one too.
I don't get it.
I'll send you the link.
Keep it on for a minute after you cut the lives.
All right. On that note, guys, thank you for joining. This has been episode 100.
Woo!
David just took his glass with him to take a piss. Took a piss, forgot his glass. Am I accurate?
No, it was gone. It was empty. It was
either way, thank you guys for joining. I sincerely mean that. And thank you also to David and James and to Rosh, who is in the back behind the scenes, forwarding your comments to us. So
Carol Ferruccio says, if you have to pee, just go. Don't hold it in. Like, well, I'm sitting in this seat, and like the seat's still going to be there.
But on that note, adios. All right, that concludes this episode. If you can think of any bad ideas that sounded like good ideas at the start, let me know in the comments. See you guys next time.
I like PBR. I just got priced out of it.